Police approach the house to handle the disturbance. The man inside immediately threatens to blow their heads off. Before they can react, he opens fire in a flash. This horrific standoff took place earlier today. It all started with complaints from the neighbors. They reported a highly aggressive neighbor. No one anticipated the level of danger this man posed. He brazenly brought a gun outside and fired warning shots. The suspect has been identified as an elderly man. His attitude is incredibly defiant and lawless. Upon receiving the report, 2 officers arrived on the scene. They had no idea they were walking into a death trap. The people nearby had already warned about his volatility. It was clear this neighbor had no intention of cooperating. Even so, the police maintained their composure. They tried to gather more information from witnesses. A safe approach plan was quickly devised. Then, the officers slowly advanced toward the house. Weapons were ready to handle any worst-case scenario. Every blind spot around the house was checked with extreme caution. A man in a red shirt was ordered by the police to step back. The line of sight to the door was fully secured. The officer moved slowly, taking cover behind the wall. He knew the perpetrator inside was pointing a gun out. A stern order to surrender was immediately issued. But the only response was a barrage of foul language. The neighbors were also extremely frustrated with him. They confirmed the madman had just fired a slug. He remained determined to hole up behind the closed garage door, accompanied by threats to shoot anyone who dared to get close. This scumbag truly has no regard for human life. Even the children in the neighborhood are in danger. He had previously threatened to kill anyone who called the police. Outraged, the group of neighbors had to arm themselves for protection. Information about the suspect was constantly updated by dispatch. Reports confirmed he was armed and intoxicated. Everyone believed this madman was actually capable of pulling the trigger. Tensions escalated as all attempts to de-escalate failed. No one anticipated the tragedy about to unfold. The tattooed neighbor recounted the moment he was provoked. However, he was not afraid and was ready to strike back. He was determined to protect his family from the terrible neighbor. So he brought his own gun out to defend everyone. The police outside continued to shout, demanding he drop the weapon. The suspect's escape route was now completely sealed off. But all calculations fell apart in a split second. The madman suddenly opened fire from a blind spot. The officer could not dodge in time and collapsed to the ground. The partner immediately returned fire to provide cover for a retreat. The neighbors immediately opened fire on the house to provide support. This hail of bullets gave the 2 officers a chance to escape. They scrambled to take cover inside a garage. Desperate screams for an ambulance echoed through the air. The headshot caused the officer to lose a lot of blood. Despite the agony, he tried to stay conscious to communicate. Both officers were hit by birdshot in the face. An emergency medical dispatch was broadcast over the radio. The condition of the other officer was equally critical. Heavy blood loss caused his vision to blur. Teammates from all directions began to swarm in to secure the perimeter, while the shooter remained calmly hiding inside the house. Deadly lead slugs tore straight into their faces. A temporary perimeter was quickly established for safety. They scrambled to provide emergency aid to their 2 wounded partners. The ambulance could not get in. The area was still too dangerous. The wounded officers had to drive themselves out to survive. The race for survival began, measured in seconds. The vehicle carrying the injured raced through the streets. A distress call was sent to the fire station along the route. Their lives now depended on this race against time. Fortunately, the vehicle came to a safe stop at the fire station. As he opened the door to step out, his blood-covered face was revealed. Blood from the head wound dripped steadily onto the ground. The medic urgently radioed in the details of the injuries. Their critical condition demanded immediate emergency care. At the scene, the tactical team was mapping out an assault plan. An ambulance arrived to transport the 2 officers to the hospital. Medical staff and firefighters rushed to get them onto the stretchers. The pressure to neutralize the suspect mounted on the police team. They checked their weapons carefully before engaging the madman. They gathered to brief everyone thoroughly on the tactical plan. They split up to seal off every possible exit for the target. They moved into position to tighten the noose. In the rear, officers knelt with weapons ready to cover their partners. The commander gave clear instructions for the flank entry. Warnings and tactical updates were relayed among the SWAT team. The option of having the team breach the side door was being considered. The problem was that no one could see if there were others inside. The force tightened the perimeter, waiting for the suspect to come out. Flashing police lights created an incredibly suffocating atmosphere. The pressure from the tactical team finally broke the suspect's defiance. He slowly turned his back and stepped out of the dark house. The police shouted loudly, ordering the suspect to put his hands up. The officers kept yelling, demanding the suspect keep his hands high. The suspect complied with the order, backing out into the middle of the street. They ordered him to back onto the grass and prepare to be disarmed. The tactical team rushed in to cuff him, ending tonight's nightmare. The suspect was pinned to the ground so others could clear the target. Officers used flashlights to search for any accomplices inside. The officer outside also began to lower his weapon, easing the tension. The criminal acted innocent, as if he did not know why he was being arrested. He even casually asked the police if they were really there for him. The officers shook their heads in disgust at the shooter's audacity. The civilians' act of firing back to protect the police was praised. The neighbors were the true heroes tonight. Everyone deeply admired the heroic spirit of the citizens. Today's victory was a testament to the unity of the community. The suspect was quickly escorted into the waiting patrol car. The officers stood around talking to decompress from the stress. Regardless, it was a tragedy that their partners were hit. Their sacrifice will always be remembered by their fellow officers. He kept blaming everyone else, especially the neighbors. The man even laughed to himself in a sick, twisted way. He brought up his family to justify his violent behavior. The old man grumbled and complained instead of showing remorse for the shooting. He hurled insults at the neighbors to deflect from his crimes. He arrogantly challenged the police to just lock him up. The law will soon bring down the punishment he truly deserves. It was a miracle that the two brave officers survived. Both were honored with medals for their sacrifice for the neighborhood's peace. The trial for the monster opened with 2 counts of attempted murder.